Greetings and welcome back to MyfanwyNia's studio here in Leitrim's Iron Mountains. If you're new here, my name is Harriet and I am a visual artist in Ireland's northwest. It's been a few months since I've posted here on YouTube back at the end of May, so my apologies that it took me so long to finally edit this one, but as promised this will be part 2 of my collaboration with Karol's Art Oasis over on her channel. If you remember my last video, I made a custom art journal to send to Karol and she made one to send to me. So I will begin by sharing the footage from opening Karol's package that I received back in June. So the parcel has arrived and this is what Karol has sent me. I'm super excited to open it and see what it is. So I'm just going to cut one side of it off and have a look at what we've got. There's a few things in here. There's a tiny little book and it is so well crafted. I think she's used fabric on here. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a little ribbon tying it up. And it's one of her business cards. Another beautiful card, and it's the same image that's on her business card. So she has these beautiful note cards and it says, "Thanks for the lovely sketchbook. I posted 2 sketchbooks, a small blue sketchbook, and that is the one I've made the video about. The other is a gift for you. I cannot wait to see your video. Hugs, Karol." The book that Karol has made her video about. So I'm just opening it here and it's got this little rope around it. Oh, it's absolutely adorable. I think I'm just going to go to a closer camera shot of this. So just looking here at this tiny little book. If I go to the first page, there's a little prompt list here. And it says, emotion of the day, paint my emotions, paint what I love, try out a new art material, paint an emotional landscape. And there's a little page in here, mini pages, and she stitched these pages in. You can see the stitch work in there. And there's the like music sheet. And there's the other little half pages. Paint my emotion today. Today I am grateful for. Some lined paper here. Brown. Some blue paper. Paint an emotional landscape. So the prompts have almost like chapter headings. And that's beautiful. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm just going to tie this back up for now. So I'm very excited to try out this little book. So also is this beautiful card. A little letter on the back. And this beautiful business card, it has links to her website, her Etsy, her YouTube, Instagram and Facebook. And that's a lovely business card. I like the eye on the back. I like all the details. There's actually like eyes going on in the background. Very beautiful. And these beautiful postcards. There's this lovely Lilium And that's very Georgia O'Keeffe kind of close-up of a lily. I love this pattern. Kind of has like that 1960s, 70s kind of floral pattern design, and I just love that, the combination of the blue and the green against the black and that pink shape there. It's beautiful artwork. And this one is a beautiful cluster of kind of blue abstractions with lots of floral wildflower grasses, but it's all done in blue. Stunning. These are all postcards as well. They're all postcards. And then there's this one with this geometry and marbled effect around the outside, and it looks a little bit like lily pond leaves or morning glory or that kind of trumpet flower perhaps, and that's beautiful too. Lovely. There's this beautiful Jack and the Beanstalk book, and with its beautiful artwork in the beginning of the book. And I had this series of books. I'm sure like a lot of us had the Ladybird series, and this image really is kind of ingrained in my psyche. This image with like the Billy Goat's Gruff, and it has the gingerbread man and Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella's carriage, the shoemaker, and Puss in Boots is there, all kinds of fairy tales. Sleeping Beauty is there. Was that the magic cooking pot? Goldilocks and the Three Bears. The Three Bears are running up there. It just has so many of those well-known stories. I see the Wicked Queen from Snow White is there too. Just so much going on in that image. It's beautiful, and it's nice to see it again. I feel very nostalgic with this kind of book. And what Carol's done here is she's taken the pages out and she's replaced them, so she's upcycled this book and she's replacing this with this lovely quality tissue paper. There's little sheets of fine tissue paper in between the pages which protect either page from each other, which is a lovely touch. Full page spreads, this lovely watercolour paper, and she's also stitched these pages together as well, which is lovely, and a whole array of different sheets. There's some text, typography in there, some lovely mid-tone paper, brown craft paper, kind of postage paper in there too, and she's doubled that up, so that's quite a nice thickness. More of the paper with the tissue, some more typography in there, and all kinds of things in here. So that's very kind of curious to create a book themed on the Jack and the Beanstalk story. And she left the last page in, of course, because this beautiful cover artwork is in here, but there's also the last part of the story, and I think that this is Jack and his well-off mother. I'm not sure who this lady is in the story. Oh, I know what it is. This is Jack and his wife, and this is Jack's mother. It has to be. I mean, at the end of the story that I'm kind of more familiar with, Jack and his mother live happily together, but of course in this version he's got his beautiful wife, and they live happily ever after cutting down the beanstalk and slaying the giant. So this book is really intriguing and very creative. So let's begin filling Karol's teeny tiny book. I'm just untying the little ribbon here, and because the book is so tiny, I thought it would be fun to use a miniature palette and a water jar. So I raided my doll's house for a serving plate to use as a palette. I located the finest brush I own, and I found a teeny tiny jar that was perfectly to scale for this teeny tiny book. I think that it once had glitter in it. To get the paint onto the palette, I dissolved some block watercolour into water, and I used a pipette to transfer it in small quantities for a very small composition on a very small page. The first prompt was emotion of the day, and I was feeling very peaceful that day, so I wrote calm at the top of the page as my page header, and I decided to paint a scene in calm blues, some yellow and some greens. The page started off quite abstract, almost like a patchwork quilt. I love the idea of a dreamy landscape. I painted a little bird flying in the sky. It took me a little while to get used to the teeny tiny line work, and it was very easy to lose the detail on it. I introduced a little bit of white gouache, which has a little bit more of a viscosity than the watercolour, and I used this to redefine some of the shapes in my composition and add a little bit more details. I think this is very sweet. I like how this came out considering the size of the page. It's very pale and soft and calm. I filled in the emotion of the day circle in the matching blue on the opposite page. The next page in the book has a green page and some small little pieces of cartridge paper in the middle, and opposite there is a bit of a music score sheet. So I painted one of my characters, and to me she has a kind of stormy feeling to her. I painted her hair all wispy and wild. She's kind of a weather goddess. I painted stars, moons and clouds in her hair. I imagine her as a woman of the wind. I had fun painting her in blues, yellows and greens, just getting used to this tiny scale of her again. And on the pages in the middle of the spread, using my Faber-Castell Pitt pens, which are Indian ink felt tips, I wrote a little passage. It says, "In a storm I found refuge in the wind. It blew my tangles away and left me in peace." This piece of writing was very spontaneous, whatever came to mind. I used a pretty star washi tape as a page border along the bottom and the top of the page. I felt this went well with the starry feel of the page. And then I went back over the written passage in another shade of blue, again with the Faber-Castell Pitt pens, just to enhance the writing a little bit. I added a little bit of pattern, expressive line work maybe. On the next page, I did a collage using washi tape. Washi tape often has little tiny detailed designs, so collage elements for a teeny tiny book, washi tape is perfect. You can make a full composition with just very small pieces of tape. I found this beautiful patterned washi tape with raindrops on them. It's very sweet and a follow-on from the storm, a transition to a softer pitter-patter of rainfall. On the next page, which is a half page, I did a little scalloped page border and some intuitive paisley designs, which I continued around the circle that Karol has put on this page with the heading, "Paint My Emotions Today." Continuing on from the feeling rather calm on the previous page, I introduced watercolour again and I painted a watery pool into the circle with a soft feeling of a ripple from the centre. I feel it can be very easy to overwork such very small little areas with watercolour, so I decided to switch my focus to my contrasting paisley pattern design, letting a darker blue run into that watery pool and just letting it disperse. Filling out areas of contrasting pigmented darkness. I like the kind of idea that the energy is swirling around the edge of this calm pool, and the pool is a centre of calmness. I spent a little time slowly filling out those little paisley doodles. I really love how this page came out. I'm always really attracted to blue and white patterns. Flipping back to my previous page, I found this little Toronto sticker, and it's the scene in the movie where they're waiting for the bus in the rain with an umbrella. I thought this would look really cute on that heart and add a focal point to that rain-themed page. The next page is a gratitude page, and at the top of the page it says, "Today I am grateful for." So I decided to do another collage page with more washi tape. I'm having a lot of fun with this mode of teeny tiny collage design. This lovely tape with butterflies, flowers and birds on it. I like it very much, and like I said, it's just a small piece of washi tape and it fills out a huge chunk of the background of these tiny pages. This again is a really lovely design. It says dream and it is in soft, icy, calm blue tones. There are flowers on there, a hydrangea, which is one of my favourite flowers. I have a bush of these growing outside of my kitchen window. I'm filling in little areas of the page, layering up these little aspects of the design that I like, tearing it so I can leave the torn edges as a little bit of collage intrigue. The bird becomes a little repetitious element. This made a beautifully decorative page background, and perhaps it's in gratitude of nature or gratitude of washi tape. I wanted to add another focal element in here, and I Always love the warm browns against the blue, so I wrote, "Today I am grateful for coffee," and I found this barista-themed coffee cup. There's not too much involved on this page, but these small washi tapes and stickers make amazing spreads on tiny pages. If this was a large page in a scrapbook, I think I would be in awe of such intriguing ephemera. On the next page, I drew my tabby cat, Ishka. Ishka is the Irish word for water. This page is made from brown packaging paper, which gives a warm mid-tone to start, making the white gel pen that I use really pop off the page, and I had to tone it back down with soft washes of brown watercolour. I'm then adding some more washi tape sticker elements around the cat. There's some beautiful roses and some soft feathers, a feeling that maybe the cheeky cat had caught a bird or something, because that's what cats like to do. And I have this beautiful washi tape that has a lovely script on it, and the details of it are so tiny, but it works so well on these tiny little pages. The tiny script almost looks like it would be the right size if this book was to scale. So this is another painting spread that is in combination with some collaged ephemera. This is an ink stamp that has a lovely old handwritten script on it. It's made of silicone and it's backed onto a piece of acetate. It matches the old script style of the washi tape, but it's a little bit of a larger font. I can't quite make out what the script says, but I very much like the way it looks. So I'm just inking up the stamp there, and I'm printing it over a portion of the page just to add a little element of intrigue to the composition. I love how this came out. I think the stamped script pulls out all of the washi tape elements together and brings another dimension or layer to the page. I wanted to reintroduce my cat's name, so I've cut up a little bit of a sticky label on a nice creamy brown tone paper. Placing it at the top of the page, there's a little emoji style cat silhouette beside it. On the next page, I drew a little character and added some bubbles around her. I am printing again with my script stamp. I masked off the drawing with a piece of paper and filled in areas of black around the bubbles. This makes the script seem to be contained within those round shapes, like looking through these little windows into the text beyond. I added these little cat stickers into my spread as well, introducing a little bit of colour. I'm just repositioning that one there. These cats are really cute. They're quite colourful against this monochromatic composition, so I decided to introduce a little bit more colour to my character to help balance it. Again, I'm using my Indian ink Faber-Castell Pitt pens. I got a colourful set of these recently, so I'm having a lot of fun trying them out and learning what they can do in terms of blending. On the next page, I'm inking up this music note stamp and adding a little bit of patterned washi tape along the bottom of the page edges. I have a little strip of Harlequin washi tape and these stickers that I have got from the Gothic Lolita Bible. They're by a fashion brand called Baby the Stars Shine Bright, and they make pretty Lolita dresses. I imagine this imagery is one of their fabric prints from one of their series of dresses. These stickers have a bit of a shine to them because they have a plasticky coating on them. So what I did, I just washed around them with soft brown watercolour to add a little bit of shading to the page, and then I just wiped back the shiny surface of the sticker to clean off any excess paint. Over on the next page, I added some music note and moon designed washi tape. There were also some arched windows on this from another washi tape roll, which I have arranged on the page. I'm using my circle punch to cut a hole through the page. I really love these little windows that peep through one page to another. I added a little bit of Paisley style foliage kind of doodle line work around these characters, and a little moon-like swirl in the hole that looks through to the other page. And on the back part you can see through to one of the stickers showing a little bloody cake with a knife in it. On the next page it says paint an emotional landscape. So I just intuitively added a little mountainscape within the circle here, and again it's drawn with those Indian ink pens. These pens are not as blendable as say Copic or alcohol markers because they dry quite fast, and much like Indian ink they don't really reconstitute. But if you were doing a painting with ink, I think they would be possibly very good for doing sharp details and highlighted areas, or edging things, or drawing outlines for your ink paintings. So that's something I might like to explore in the future. On the next spread, I painted a night sky, bringing it down to the sunset horizon line, introducing different shades to create transitional colours, again with my Indian ink pens, trying to work quickly so the colours would bleed into each other. Onto this twilight sky, I added a comic book style cityscape silhouette in black with a softer grey to indicate buildings beyond and create some depth. I added some glow into the windows with white Faber-Castell Pitt marker. I also introduced some sharper white highlights with white gouache. These have a stronger opacity than the Indian ink marker, and I used it for the moon and adding some more details such as bright tiny white stars and brighter lit windows and moonlit edges on the rooftop. I used my star punch then to create star-shaped windows that peeped through onto the pages beyond. I'm really enjoying the way these pages are leading into each other with these little punched out shapes. As tiny as they are, they actually seem quite large on these tiny pages. I again used the white gouache to redefine and outline the shape of the bridge, which is the focal piece of this cityscape. On the next page, I drew another one of my character pieces. This spread is very pink. I'm using a magenta Sharpie, which is an alcohol-based fine liner. I used the Indian ink pens to do the shading. I'm gaining confidence now with the way they're blending and trying to create areas of shadow rather than doing too much blending with them. So you can see the Sharpie is actually bleeding onto the next spread. So I added some collage to this page, again with washi tape, which features soft cherry blossom trees. I feel like the colours really complement each other. I'm going to use my ink stamp with the script, so I cleaned off any residual black ink and I decided to colour it with a blended mix of pink and purple Copic markers, which, like the Sharpies, are also alcohol based. This worked really well on the stamp and brought a transitional colour spectrum to that dreamy vintage script. I added some cute pink cat stickers. They have a little silver edge that catches the light. These are from the same set as the cat stickers I've already been using in this book. I like that there are a few reoccurring motifs to this page. These ones fit perfectly with the colour scheme. On the next page, I'm inking up my script stamp again with some more Copic markers to get that pretty gradation of colour across the font. Here I'm cutting out a few windows with my circle punch. I decided to add some miniature scrapbooking elements to this page, so I created a teeny tiny pencil drawing of a girl in a pretty Alice in Wonderland style apron. This is very tiny, less than 2 centimeters high. It's not overly detailed, just simple and very sweet. I used a corner punch to punch the corners of this piece, and it gave a little frilly scalloped edge over the whole surround of this tiny drawing, which I felt was really effective. While I was working on this teeny tiny book, I had been listening to an audiobook called The 4 Agreements, based on ancient Toltec wisdom. As I was listening to the book, I decided that these 4 agreements could be added to the book as little quotes for the next couple of pages. The first agreement in the book was be impeccable with your word, and the next one is take nothing personally. By adding these to the book, it will help me remember them and I'll be able to find them again. So I will put the name of the book on the screen now with the author if you're interested in reading it too. It's an interesting book, I quite enjoyed it. The next quote says, "In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God." This is a quote from the Bible, and they were referencing it in the book in relation to the first agreements. The next page has that lovely green colour on it, so I've used some green washi tape. And again, I'm using my Indian ink pens just to colour over it and create a kind of matching colour across the whole page. I'm again using some washi tape stickers. This one has a little floral wreath on it, and colouring back over it again in green to bring the page to a uniform colour. And the stickers act as a kind of tactile intrigue beneath the green hue. And then I drew a kind of fairy tree. There's a fairy tree at the top of my mountain here where I go for my walks. I was trying to make it look a little bit like that fairy tree at the top of my hill. I'm always very respectful to this fairy tree, and I wave at it every time I go by it, but don't get too close to it. I wrote a little passage at the top of the page, and it says, "A tree on its own in a meadow high, grown windswept." So if you don't know about fairy trees, they are lone hawthorn trees, and I added the specimen name at the side of the page. As the next page had some blue paper on it, I decided to do a watery piece featuring a tiny mermaid. She's quite simply drawn and has a curly tail. I used the script stamp again. I felt like the scripts in shades of blue made it seem like a watery script, almost like underwater ripples on the page. I used some dots of double-sided tape to attach some of the little stars that I had punched out from some of the previous pages. And I drew little faces on them so they look a little bit like starfish. On the next page, I did a simple landscape, has a fantasy, almost Grand Canyon kind of colour scheme to it. The last spread is the inside back cover, and I created a pattern with overlapping circles drawn with my circle stencil. This pattern reminds me of a kind of 1960s, 70s kind of retro graphic. Colouring the gaps where the circles intersect. Now I'm just going to do a quick little flip through of the finished journal. I know this was quite a long video, so if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching and sticking with me to the end. I have been very busy off camera these past few months away from YouTube. I have done a few mural pieces and have started a weekly arts and craft fair in Sligo town, which is about an hour's drive from where I live here in Leitrim, in our neighbouring county. So I've been spending a lot of time making sure I had enough stock to make a nice display of my arts and crafts. I hope to share some of these projects with you soon in my future videos. It's also the beginning of October, so I hope to do a few pieces this Draw-Halloween. And if any of you are doing a drawing challenge this October, do let me know in the comments which prompt list you may be following, because I'm not completely sure which one I'm going to do just yet. I usually would do Mab's Draw-Halloween Club, but I'm kind of open to maybe cross-pollinate prompts from other lists as well. So we are coming to the end of my video now, and I do hope you enjoyed it. I want to send a big thank you to Karol of Karol's Art Oasis here on YouTube for the collaboration and sending me this adorable little book to work with. So thank you so much, Karol. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon for another video. Bye bye!